Hello, welcome back to We're Literally Obsessed. I'm Kendall, one of the two-brother duo of this podcast where we sit down and force each other to listen to what each other has been obsessed with this week.
Yes, and then I am Greg, the other half of the duo,
Hi, Greg.
I guess. Thank you. Hi, Kendall. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's a little early in the morning, but we're trying some shit out.
So, how has your week been?
My week's been good, but to be real, I feel like I've unlearned all of the little camera tricks that I felt like I learned. Like I was getting comfortable being recorded and having this ring light in my face. And then we stopped recording and then we posted our first episode. Now we posted our second episode. I think it's been 3 weeks that we haven't sat down and recorded at this point. Week was good. Just working, planning and scheming on the background. Which I guess I can say now because I was kind of afraid to say, but I'm moving to Colorado in a few weeks, which will be a bunch of technical difficulties for future Greg and Kendall. But right now we're live set up in person, so we'll have to figure that shit out.
Exactly. We have a couple ideas already running. It's not like we're we'll figure it out when it gets here, but that's also why we're so not pre-recording, but we have, because technically this video isn't going to come out for a while. By the time this comes out, you're in Colorado.
Yeah, we've got two... Really? What? No.
I think so.
It'll be close.
You're right.
But we've got 2 whole episodes in the vault at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So we're 2 episodes ahead of where we're posting.
So we're doing good. We posted our first episode, and I watched it, and I realized I bite my lips a lot. It's
Wait, really?
Concerning, yeah. And I just did it, and that's what reminded me of it. So I'm trying my best. I'm just going to not sucking on my lips.
Nice.
We're trying. We're learning. But yeah, I'm doing good as I'm trying to get housing and job stuff lined up. And then also feel like I'm on my farewell tour right now for everyone in North Carolina. I just had a friend reach out to me yesterday and was like, oh, when can I see you? And I'm like, well, I'm busy this weekend and this weekend and this weekend and this weekend. I'm in town between this day and this day, and then this day and this day again, and then I'm not busy on this day. So the farewell tour is lining up. I wish I was getting paid for it. But yeah, that's how my week's been. How's your week been?
Well, part of the reason we haven't recorded in a while is because I've been having a rough time of life. Life has been out to get me. I don't know what I did to her, but she is mad. She is angry. I don't know. But I have just been fucked up this last couple of weeks, which is why we haven't recorded. I had not to get too deep into it, but a tragic passing in the family. Then Danny was in Venezuela for a while, so then I was here doing my own thing, making the money for the both of us while he was gone for a couple weeks. Then after that, I've had my car broken into, so that's been fun.
They bust the window out your car.
You know, that is exactly the song I thought of as soon as I saw it. I was like, they bust the window out my car. I was,
but it was
verge of tears.
Yeah, it was just the back driver window.
Yeah.
And then what did they steal, Greg? What did they get away with?
They took a pair of sunglasses and my charging cable. But don't worry.
Retail value of...
Well, actually, the sunglasses were good sunglasses. So, but don't worry, because insurance got it all back to me. Literally, it's all been covered. Yeah. Insurance covered it. But still, it's just irritating. And I've been having to drive around because my window's hopefully getting fixed today. But I've been driving around with a fucking trash bag, rattling behind me as I drive. It is horrible. I hate it so much. But don't worry, they left my peanut butter crackers, so snacks secured. Amen. Don't even worry about that.
Between that and your apocalypse water bottle you refuse to remove from your car, as long
as that was there too.
And you know what? They shouldn't, because I think I told you, but they found that leaving plastic water bottles in your car, it does the plastic. There's certain BPAs or something. I don't know, something it's not good.
Yeah, but I feel like everything these days is the thing is, it's always, they say it's going to give you cancer. Microwaving, it's going to give you cancer. Yeah. Talking on a cell phone, it's going to give you cancer. Water bottle in your car, which, by the way, I would like to say, I've kept desert water is what I call it. We live nowhere near a desert. We are in North Carolina. But I've kept desert water in my car since high school. I have never once used my desert water, ever.
That's why I call it your apocalypse water, because at this point, what are you truly saving it for?
But imagine you need water and you have none. That's the worst feeling.
I pull over to a gas station and get a water.
What if you can't get to a gas station?
I think there'd be bigger problems if I broke down in the middle of nowhere.
Or imagine, I don't know, you get something all over your hands and you need to wash your hands. What are you going to do? I need water. I mean, at that point, you could say, like, oh, Greg, why don't you keep hand sanitizer? Mm-hmm. I can't. That's gross.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
it is gross that you don't keep it. I
No, but
always
like
have sanitizer.
hand sanitizer in the car. As soon as it gets hot, the amount of times I've seen it like pool out and everything, it's disgusting. Water stays in the bottle.
It's cleaning your car for you.
Water stays in the bottle. But yeah, so I still have my desert water and my peanut butter crackers. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so life's been real difficult. But you know, making the best of it. I'm telling myself we're on the recovery. I just think March was a bitch. Fuck March. We're in April now, so it's fine.
Yeah, we're in Mercury retrograde at this moment, and there's supposed to be some solar eclipse. And the way our mom keeps sending this like end of the world apocalypse stuff, I had to text her. I was like, look, because just for you guys, like the 2012 Mayan calendar apocalypse freaked me the hell out. I was like, I'm not ready to die. I am only 13 years old. I have a life to live. And I was literally like anxious and super scared about the world ending. So then I guess our mom forgot that, wasn't thinking about it. I had to tell her, like, do not send me end of the world TikToks. But, like, at this point, she's on conspiracy TikTok.
Yes.
And she is deep in it. She is sending, like, all these things about, like, government shutdowns and government cities that are being targeted and all this crazy stuff. And I'm just like, it's at a point where, like, I want to see how far she goes, but also I do want to save her before she gets too far.
Yeah, I was definitely like, Mom, you need to be careful. You're starting to sound like QAnon.
Yeah.
But
well, don't worry. She's never going to, touch the conservative side of it.
That's
but
true.
She's very much.
But it feels like the same level of intensity and insanity.
You know what I think it is? She was on top of the COVID-19 spreading, and she was actually right about that. I think ever since then, she's just like, I have a gift.
Exactly. Like, they had toilet paper. Everybody else was out, but Mom had toilet paper.
That's what no, because like 3 weeks before everything shut down, she was like, have y'all heard about this coronavirus? Have you heard about it? You need to watch out. It's called COVID-19. And we're like, oh well, if the world shuts down, it shuts down. And then it literally shut down.
And then she was like, y'all need to come stay up with me as soon as we were working from home. And Kendall was like, I don't think I can do that. And I was like, Mom, I just met a boy.
Yeah.
And married now, so it worked out. But
she was ready to like bunker down. She was ready to like stay in a shelter, like be in the basement, living off canned foods and like one candle per day.
They had their own grocery store of like canned foods and everything downstairs
like she
in the
was
basement.
so prepared, and then all it was like you had to wear a mask when you went grocery shopping, which was more than that. I'm not minimizing COVID, but like Mom was like on another level, and she was right, and I think she's gonna live that high for the rest of her life. But we will always be like one lunar eclipse, one solar eclipse, one medical outbreak in a country somewhere else away from her being like, okay, you guys need to shelter down, the world's ending.
Exactly. But I mean, we did borrow toilet paper from her, so she was right.
Did. I mean, you know what? She was right, but she also, like I said, she's always we got ready the Mercury in retrograde. There's a solar eclipse happening tomorrow for today, and she has been on it. She's been sending TikToks. And I had to tell her, I was like, stop. I can't.
And like to give validity to it, Kendall seriously was all messed up about the world ending in 2012.
So depressed.
He was a mess. He was all over the place. And then our friends, I don't know if you remember, they were like, oh, we should like hang out and have a world ending party. And Kendall was fully like, well, I don't want to be at a friend's house if the world's going to end. I'd rather be with my family.
I was prepared.
He fully was like, no, the world is ending. I can't. And we're like, we're just going to sit, watch TV, and eat nachos. Kendall, nothing's happening. But Kendall was like, but if it does, I want to be with my family.
And you know what? Funny. I stand beside me.
It was a good choice, but nobody was taking it as seriously as you were. And our entire friend group and everything.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I ignore the world ending stuff. At this point, if there's an outbreak or some crazy stuff, I'll react the best I can. If I die, I die.
Oh, and
which also I fully texted that. Like, our mom sent us this like government, like, these cities are targeted, stay safe TikTok. It was fully like based on stupid claims. Like, there was absolutely no validity to it. And then I was like, if I die, I die. And then she just texted back, I love you.
Yeah, literally, I'm in the group chat. I was there. Kendall was just like, I don't even know what was happening. I was just working, and Mom sent a TikTok, so I just assumed. And literally, I just see a text from Kendall. If I die, I die. Mom, I love you. It's like, what?
And you know, my thought of it was like, oh well, what can I do about it? But I realized later, I was like, the text did come off very like, this is the end. But yeah, that was pretty much been our week preparing for Mercury retrograde.
Yeah. Oh, and I lost my fancy gym. I no longer go to my nice gym.
Yeah. RIP to that sauna.
The sauna, the steam room, the hot tubs.
Welcome back to Planet Fitness with the rest of us.
Oh, I'm not even Planet Fitness. I'm using my apartment gym.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's really nice.
It is a really nice apartment gym, and it's like we're paying for it. Why are we paying for an expensive gym when we have a nice gym with our apartment complex? So, but no steam room, hot tub, or sauna.
Yeah, but it does have one of those cute screens that you can like choose a workout on. I think The Rock or somebody was like doing a promo for those. But yeah.
Sorry to that. But yeah, that's been my week. Rough, but happy to be here.
Our 3 weeks, yeah. Very rough. Working through it. Therapy's doing her thing, having a good time. But yeah, that's about where I'm at.
Well, if we're on an odd episode, that means Kendall, you go first.
No, we have to do the oot, Greg. You're
my gosh,
you're
I
not denying
totally
me this
forgot.
opportunity.
You're right. You're fully right. We need to go into your oot.
Okay, so today's oot, and we will have this video. I'm just picturing it in my head. We always record this, and I have no idea what I'm gonna do in the video.
Yeah,
but
I fully am like clipping and slowing things down and doing things to try to match it up.
I am trying to keep it a little simple. This is probably as simple as I can go without feeling naked or feeling like I'm just being lazy. Today's
This
outfit.
is simple?
Yeah.
Okay.
Today's outfit is fully inspired by my topic, which will be Cowboy Carter. There was no question about it. Beyonce's reign on this podcast and chokehold on me will not be lifted.
Yeah, this is the first time there was no surprise in what was happening. Like, I had already assumed, but then also me and Kendall, we hung out yesterday. And he came up to me and fully was like, I think Alex, our sister's boyfriend, started talking about the new album, and Kendall fully was like, that's my topic tomorrow. We'll talk about it then.
Yeah, I was like we got to save
down.
I have whole theories. I have notes. Okay. Anyway, so back to the outfit. So I wanted to do something that was just like, you could see me doing like a little photo shoot in the desert. I have on these custom suede, and by custom, I ordered them from Etsy from a shop that is now shut down.
I mean, that's still custom.
Yes. So they are like, literally, I had to do my measurements and everything, but custom suede pants with suede fringe on the side. There's little silk inserts, which I'm not going to show you, but they're there. And I love doing like a little shimmy and a shake with it because the fringe goes everywhere. Literally, when I walk in it, like, it's just like the tassel's like, boom, boom,
I have
boom,
seen you twirl in it at the club.
Yes, I did wear them to the club. They're very hot. They're only fun when it's cold outside. And then we have this beautiful bedazzle belt. And this belt is very special because this belt has been in front of Beyonce. It has seen her. It has been in her presence. This was what I wore to the Renaissance tour. And I went to the Houston show, so I saw Meg Thee Stallion too. Then good old Chelsea boots from Zara. I would love to buy cowboy boots, but I am not spending money on them right now. That is expense for later on Kendall.
That's a Denver Kendall thing.
Yeah, exactly. And then this is just a cute little white ribbed tank top, a wife pleaser as they call them. Then we have the art, or it's supposed to be the creation of man or the creation of Adam or something, where it's like God and Adam touching fingers on, I think it's the Sistine Chapel. I don't know.
You know what I think of, though? I just think of, this is going to show how gay I am, but Call Me By Your Name, when they had, like, the statue hand in the hand and they shook hands. They, like, made peace, you know?
Yeah.
I know it's not touching fingers, like, and that's what the thing is, but still,
Yeah.
it reminds me of that.
Okay. Yeah, it's between that or, like, the little ooh things that people do.
I
don't love that, but it does remind
that.
me. And then let's have this other ring that my friend Mary bought me, and it just feels like a little bit Southern inspired. I did have a turquoise ring, but I already wore that already, so I just wanted to wear this one. I may have already worn this one, but she's cute. I don't even know what it is, like $20 off of Amazon. And then I have this little chain that I got from TJ Maxx.
It's crazy. This is your first episode rocking natural nail.
Oh, you're right. They finally fucking fell off. I had a coworker that had like a USB plug-in Dremel. So one day I was just like sitting at work. I was like, zzz, just to do my little thing, shaved them off. Then I painted them green for St. Patrick's Day, and they looked a mess. And then slowly but surely, they fucking fell off. It took 6 weeks for those nails to fall off. They were like halfway up my nail bed at that point. So shout out to my nail tech at that nail salon. She knew what she was doing, and she put that shit on there, and she meant it.
You gonna get a cute Colorado set before taking off?
No, I'm supposed to go get my nails done with Kaylee and our mom, but
that's right.
We'll find
next
out.
weekend.
We'll see. But yeah, they're natural, and it kind of is gonna tie in a little bit, to the feelings I got from Cowboy Carter. But I just want to do a little bit simplified, just black and white, just simple country, but with of course a little flair. So yeah, that's the oot.
Nice.
So who is your doll today?
Okay, well, funny enough, I didn't think about it until literally this exact moment. But name-wise, I guess she ties into Beyonce too, because this is modern Renaissance Bina. She is a doll from the curated event from last year. So last year, Integrity Toys, well, she's an Integrity Toys doll. Integrity Toys did an event that was exclusive to 600 people. You had to enter a lottery to get into it. I was lucky enough to be able to go. And there were dolls in quantities of 600. Everyone was allowed 2 of each doll, and what they didn't sell, they'd sell later. I only needed one of the ones I like. So I got one of Bina. So she's one of 600. She's cute. Modern Renaissance.
I love her. She's my favorite one that you have, to be real.
Yeah. So, like, the whole theme was, like, a curated art museum. And she was kind of like the main showpiece. Like, she has, like, all this.
As she should be. Like,
she has, like,
gorgeous.
all of this train, which looks incredible. And she's just really beautiful. I love her. She's a new character, so this is like her first iteration of that character.
Whenever
nice.
you can make cone titties elegant, I think you've created art.
I know. I think she's. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think she's a Schiaparelli reference. Like that's like one of their things is like the little cone titty thingamabob.
All right.
But also I love her gold jewelry that's like ribbons, which you'll see up close. But she has like all these like ribbon pieces that look like jewelry, but it's like draped across her. So
I
beautiful.
would fucking kill to have jewelry that look like that. Like I like Art Deco jewelry is my favorite, especially when this has like this creative, dramatic element to it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like big artsy things, but like the way the bands on her jewelry just kind of like look like gold that's just like flowing and liquid just running down her. I fucking love it.
Yeah, she's so beautiful. I really love her. She was the one when I walked into the room because they had them in like. It was really cool. They had them on like cases, which also, if you're interested in seeing this, I do have it on my YouTube video. I did like a little vlog of
and you like fully got like custom invited. Like there was only so many spots to go to this event, and you were maybe a few months into really putting your effort into this curated design, or was it Integrity Toys?
Integrity Toys,
and to like them, and then you fully like went to this event, got invited to it, showed up, like walked through an art gallery, met the actual designers themselves, other collectors in the community. Like it was a whole thing. It was actually really cool. Yeah.
But she's in, like I said, in the YouTube video, you can see me and I can like see them, but like they had them in these glass cases and you got to walk up to the glass cases. It was so cool. It was such an event. I definitely want to go to more doll events. That was my first one ever.
And something I love to point out is you were really sweet. Like you had people who didn't get invited to the event and you went and like bought dolls for them and everything.
Yeah, I had like a friend who wasn't able, because like I said, it was only 600 people. That's not a lot of people for how many people collect. So I was able.
And I would have never guessed we would have gotten to 600. I would have never guessed 600 and people were like fighting for spots.
Yeah. No, wait, actually, 600? Yeah, I think it was 600. No, there's 600 of each doll. There was 300 people invited.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 300 tickets. But yeah, so I was able to get a doll to someone, which was really cool. But yeah, she's really cool. And also what's really interesting is they offered to the club a color variant of one of the dolls from the event. To people who couldn't make it, and she's the doll who got a color variant. I wasn't interested in the color variant. I like the original, but the color variant, instead of blue, she's pink, and instead of gold jewelry, it's silver jewelry. She's really pretty, but
I think this is my favorite.
Yeah, I think she's definitely the one.
It gives like a little bit of Madonna, but also just the dress and how elegant it is. It reminds me of Carrie Bradshaw when she goes to that bridge in Paris.
But also her face gives a little Carrie Bradshaw to me. Like when I first got her, I was like, okay, her face is giving a little Carrie to me. Yeah. But yeah, I really love her. She's great. And she's actually the one, even in my YouTube videos, you don't see her because she sits like front and center on my desk. So I see her all the time, but nobody else does.
And like her train is just like draping off the side of his
literally
desk.
falls
off
off
the
the side of my desk.
thing.
It's nice.
Again, my favorite one that you own.
Yeah, so that's my doll of the episode.
Oh, yay.
All right, so I guess now we can get into your mystery subject that we already know.
Who could have ever guessed? Okay. So, truly, everything Beyonce releases is a work of art, right? So our build up to this was, we knew she was coming out with another album soon.
Yes.
We just got the movie for Renaissance back in December. Then Super Bowl, she announces with the Verizon commercial that she...
How odd is that? A Verizon commercial.
You know, I've heard
announcement?
some celebrity theories or just like TikTok theories that celebrities are going broke, so she's having to like do deals with Verizon to like pay her bills.
Well, I've also seen like a bunch of things, like a reason a lot of music people don't make music because music doesn't make money the way it used to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about merch and stuff like that.
Which is
so,
like why Rihanna has gone into like fashion and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But so she releases that commercial. We're like, oh, and then she releases Cowboy Carter. I really thought it was gonna be about. I thought it was gonna be called Enlightenment because I saw this beautiful video on YouTube. I forget it, but there's someone that made a theory, pretty much talking about how Renaissance was following the ideals and the philosophies of the Renaissance period in history, where we went from the golden or like medieval ages, and then we like changed philosophy and culture and had sort of like a societal shift and awakening, and ended up in a lot of modern day culture with like organized governments and like elected bodies and stuff like that, where we got a lot of our art. That's so much of art that people reference is Renaissance. And then into the next part is supposed to be Enlightenment, which is a period. Think of, this is when like the American Revolution, the French Revolution were kind of happening. There was less of a tie to like, oh my God chooses his favorites and that's the king and the queen, and more so emphasis on personal liberties and rights. And then the last one, I believe, is called Revolution. I don't know. It's been a minute since I've seen that video. But essentially, it's the idea of like, this is the new world. This is the new, thing. So coming into this, I had an idea that she was going to be touching on some sort of philosophical idea related to enlightenment, into personal liberties and personal, rights. And I forget. It's something like the right to property, land, or property, freedom, and something else. The historical girlies can look it up. So Enlightenment, I thought it was going to be this. But turns out she releases Cowboy Carter. And I'm like, okay, like I like it. I really want, she has this cool shirt that's like white with like red trim on it. And she has like Beyonce as herself dressed up. Anyway. So then she was like, oh, this was based on an experience that I had where I didn't feel very welcomed. And I wrote this album based off of that. And so the one time that she tried to touch on country music was when she wrote Daddy Lessons on Lemonade, and then she performed it with the Chicks at the CMAs. And it was the 50th award show. It was this really big thing, and they were like, oh my God, we're gonna like have all these different people here. So they invited the Chicks back, who were already shunned from the country community. And let's be honest, it's not the country community, the conservative community. And so they were shunned from that. So then Beyonce performed with them. She's not a white woman, she's not a white man. So she performs her song, and they like pan to the crowd, and there's people who are absolutely just pissed, or like talking through her performance, no respect to what she's doing, and she's giving you country music. And so she writes this album, or was inspired to write this album from that event, which is what everyone's speculating. She doesn't name it specifically, but like the fans know, the people who are on it know. And my friend group that I went to, the Renaissance tour with, super, super deep into Beyonce's like information and lore. So I think like that, they told me that it was from that. I kind of believe it. And so we start the album.
Wait, before we get into the album,
yes.
I would just like to say my thing. The visuals she was releasing before the album,
Oh shit.
like the photos and stuff that she was coming out with, they were tingling a part of my brain that I feel like had been are you okay?
I just clicked off of the one thing I needed. I have a notes app.
But like the visuals, like the posts and stuff that she was releasing before the album drop were doing something for me, like tingling a part of my brain, like I was saying, like that hasn't been accessed in a long time, because I showed you, because you've been all over Beyonce, and then I started showing you photos that she was dropping that you hadn't even seen yet.
Yes.
Like it's giving Trish Stratus core, like down, like it is Trish Stratus core so hard. Like the one photo I showed you is like her in front of a mirror and she's like messing with her hair. That lives in my head rent free. I think about it at least twice a day. It is such a beautiful photo.
She's just gorgeous. She's stunning.
But it's like, again, we were WWE diva children, hardcore. Yes. We were obsessed with
it. Was our trailer park roots. There was many people we knew in our neighborhood and from our hometown that watched WWE.
Exactly. It was basically a big facet of our personality as children.
Yes, like we had all the video games,
the show, the action figures. We had the wrestling ring. We were talking about wrestling Hannah Montana dolls.
Yes.
It was in the ring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and we used to do the moves on the trampoline, all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
we were so into it.
Do you remember we came up with our own cinnamon twist?
No. What are you talking? No.
So we would trampoline fight with our friends in the neighborhood, and me and Kendall, we always fought typically as a duo because we could come up with moves together.
Yeah.
And me and Kendall came up with our own move called the cinnamon twist, inspired by Taco Bell.
Yeah.
So we would get together and then we'd
she still has.
We'd jump up and then we'd wrap our legs around each other so we became a single log.
God. Wait, no, I remember it. Yeah.
And then we'd spin and roll over our friends.
We were like Donkey Kong barrel rolling.
Yes. We'd scream cinnamon twist, jump up, lock our legs, and then roll over our friends.
Which, you know what?
Or like clothesline them. It was something.
Yeah, I mean, we did.
It was iconic.
Yeah,
I
mean, we locked our legs
in
in right every time.
Yes, exactly.
And we just spun together.
But it was fully inspired by the cinnamon twist from Taco Bell. But yeah, that was our signature move. But getting back to Beyonce, just the visuals she's been releasing, and again, the Trish Stratus core of it all.
Yes.
I've been obsessed with the visuals.
And Trish Stratus was my girl. I was obsessed with her.
Yeah, that's one thing you got right in childhood, because I was very much a Lita fan and a Tori Wilson, but you knew Trish was the one.
Yes. She was the diva. But yeah, so the album, like Texas Hold'em, I was like, okay, like this is fun. 16 Carriages was beautiful and sweet. But going into this album and really listening to it, I was going in not necessarily from the experience of like a Beyonce fan and what she went through and the artistry of what, or like trying to discover what her lyrics meant, what specific events it tied to for her. Because as with all of her albums, especially since Lemonade, like they're so personal to her. You can listen to her album and relate it to events in her life, but you can also listen to it and just understand like the general theme of what she's doing. You can take another step back and you can look at how she's voicing a reflection of our society and where we're at. And then you can take an even another like larger step back and she's giving you a history lesson. And so there's just so many layers that you can constantly review this album with. And so for me, I went into this album, first listen, I wrote down some thoughts. I had to listen to it again. I kind of went into this album with the feeling that I also am, you know, from the South. I grew up in the southern towns. I grew up in southern culture. I grew up in the church. I grew up in those communities. And this is something that like I actually interviewed you for a school assignment on, which is just that, you know, the South is home. Small southern towns are home, and they're so heavily tied into conservative politics and religion. And while I may not be a woman and I may not be African American, I am gay, and that pushes me out of that religious circle, which so heavily separates me from that home feeling that I had.
Yeah.
It's this idea of not being a part of the community that you were raised in, that you are a part of, but it rejects you. You're ostracized. You're not allowed into a club. It's almost like you're having to ask permission to be a part of something that you already are.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about this like one-on-one, because we both get those like home, like fuzzy feelings and stuff when we're out in the country, like out way past where like you don't hear the city. There's no like ambulances or stuff like that running by, but also we feel so unwelcome at the same time. So it's such a weird feeling for us.
Yeah, like there's so much nostalgia and home and calming memories, childhood memories, fond memories tied into these spaces. You're not welcome.
Yeah.
Because somebody decided that. And so this album, to me, she takes us through that journey, that feeling, those emotions, and she just kind of gets to this idea of like, I don't have to ask permission to be in a space I already belong to. And so she does that with country music, but she also reflects on the world as a whole. You think of, you know, her experience specifically with this country music. So it's beautiful, it's art, and she's always going to give you that. And so truly my overall feeling was that she made this for the people who are from those country southern roots and small town cultures and communities that once gave them that calm, peaceful sense of home, but they're no longer welcome there. And she opens it with the song American Requiem. And she truly is just a thesis statement. she kind of opens it with change is the norm. So, are you ready for the next change? More or less being like, the world is always going to change. Change is the I forget, how's that saying go? Change is the rule, not the exception. So something kind of like that. So the song gives that, and then she's like, "Oh, like you didn't want to listen to me. Do you hear me now?" And kind of like to the country music industry, where she's like, "You didn't want to listen to me. You didn't want to listen to my performance when I was giving you something country. Now you have an entire album and my fans and my album blowing up. You have to listen to me. I'm in the news. I'm in your space. I'm in your face." And she's giving that, and then she goes on to say, but I'm not doing this out of spite and anger. I'm not like you. I'm doing this out of love. I'm showing you that there is so much love and there's so much community here, and you are the problem because you are leading with hate. Tell me why I'm not welcome and give me that reason. And so it's just a beautiful album. I love that. And it kind of is separated into sections for me. So we start with the beginning of the album, and she covers Blackbird, which is so beautiful. So we get 16 Carriages. She has these beautiful songs about, more or less, it gives us comfort feeling, like we were talking about, of like, oh, I'm from the country. I'm, warm, sunny afternoons, the smell of like fresh cut grass, something's on the barbecue, because there's some cookout happening, there's some community thing, there's just always this warm, comfortable, cozy feeling, and she gives that. And then she also touches on those like classic country and religious values of like protecting your family and like I'm making a space. And again, just the whole album, she touches on that. But so then we get to a smoke break where Willie Nelson is now a part of her album. And, this is something like, relax, let us listen to whatever. So that first part of the album is like her giving you classic country, her tying in those historical elements, being like country music, or, African Americans have always been a part of country. They made country. And she gives you some of those elements, and she talks about why she's doing this. And then she takes us into the first smoke break, and this is where she just starts doing like a lot of classic fun country. She covers Jolene in here. Dolly Parton shows up, Jolene, and which is such a fucking slay.
Yeah, I will say Jolene is like one of my. I'm not hard into the country music. Like I have such a nostalgic feeling for the country music we grew up on, because that's what we grew up listening to. Yeah. Our mom is showing us 80s music. Our dad is showing us country music. We both ended up being pop girlies kind of in the end, but hardcore, like we grew up on like Rascal Flatts, Shania Twain, stuff like that. And then also, Twisted Sister and Cinderella, like stuff like that. So whenever I hear country that like harkens back, like a Dolly Parton, but like Jolene, that is one of my shower songs. If I'm in the shower, I don't have my music playing, that's one of the songs I'm going to be singing while I'm showering.
Like she was in her whole fucking bag. She was inside of, I'm talking like a whole suitcase, not even a fucking bag the day she wrote that. That song transcends the genre. And then to also like Dolly Parton herself wrote I Will Always Love You, like fucking classic.
Yeah, I haven't listened to the whole album, I'll admit. It's been, as I said, I've been having a rough time.
And you better do it. I'll bust another window out your car.
Would love that. Oh my gosh, yes please. But
anything for Beyonce.
I've listened to pieces. Like of course I've heard Texas Hold'em. I've listened to it myself, but also it's everywhere. But then I've also Jolene, I've already listened to it. I already love it. Then I heard Blackbird, and I think there's like one or two others.
And also something on Blackbird is she features a country artist, and I forget her name. Again, I mostly am just giving my impressions of the album. Please do not use me as like a historical source at all for this. Again, I'm telling you what I'm obsessed with and the parts of this album that stuck with me. But she features a country artist, and she's a black woman, and nobody really knows her in like the country scene like that. She's not mainstream at all. And Beyonce again like steps into this genre and gives space to her and lets her cover Blackbird with her. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, I've also heard like the people how Beyonce, like giving them bigger platforms, she's like tripled some of their audiences of the people she featured on the album, which is incredible.
Yes.
So she's not only like I'm here, she's also like busting the door down and letting other people like rise as well in that field. So it's amazing.
And that's just what this whole thing, like she's on a mission right now. And we're not going to really be able to see the full mission until we retrospect. But I absolutely love it. Like, she woke us up with Renaissance. She gave us that gay history lesson, and she gave us the house music lessons. And she was like, wake up, let's have some fun, let's shake some ass. We've all had the weight of the world on our shoulders from this pandemic, from all these social causes everyone's been stressed about. Wake up, let's have fun. And then in this one, she is now touching base on, you know, have fun, celebrate who you are, where you're at in life. So it almost feels like a tie into like your past and like making peace with your past. And like I said, truly just the statement that really has stuck with me that I've thought of, or like, I don't know if it's really my thought, but like the vibe I got is not having to ask permission to be in spaces you were already in. Like, I'm country, I'm Southern. If I go anywhere else, I'm going to be considered that. And to feel like I have to ask permission to be a part of that country scene in those spaces, and to feel like I'm not welcome there when I helped I am a part of that community, is me. Even though I have, you know, one of the cardinal sins that people often ostracize you for, I don't have to ask permission to be where I always belonged. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's beautiful for me in that way. That's truly the vibe that I got from this. But yeah, so she covers Jolene. She's, you know, giving classic country and also like modern country. She gives us Texas Hold'em. She gives you a line dance. Line dancing is so big right now. I've already been to a bar that does line dancing here in their area. It comes on every single Friday, Saturday, and, you know, night. Beyonce's already on the radio. She's already in your bar. She's already got us line dancing to her. Like, she is giving us all this classic country, but then she starts having a little bit of fun with it. And let's see. I just have to do a little bit. So it's just more or less and then also in the smoke break snippet, she plays little snippets of songs that are classic country songs and half sounds, but they're all by African-American Black country artists that paved the way for country music. So again, she's giving us that history lesson. And then she covers, you know, specifically her song, like makes country music, but then also does country music in a bit of her way, in a modern way. And it's just so beautiful. And to me, it's like a fuck y'all, I'm going to make your country music and then show you how I can make my music country music too, with songs like Spaghetti, which is so funny. In that song, a beautiful new insult has come, which is plain Jane spaghetti, no sauce. Just being like, you're basic, bitch. Mm-hmm. I love it. Then again, we get Dolly and her have like a little bit of a little moment, and she's like, hey, Beyonce, I remember that song you made about that girl with the good hair. It reminds me of another woman I used to talk about, but she was known for her auburn hair. And then just immediately she goes into Jolene. So she literally ties into Becky with the good hair.
I love that you were doing a low-key Dolly impression there.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Beyonce. No, because she does. You have to listen to it, because I'm going to beat your ass and break the window. I'm going to slash 3 tires so you can't get the insurance. Like, listen to the fucking album.
Kendall Glenn, don't fuck with me like that. Do not. I am fragile. Mm-hmm. But I saw that, like, I listen to Jolene, of course. I'm a Jolene stan. Like, that song, mm-hmm. I love it. I love Miley's version, Dolly's version, Beyonce's version. That song has never been done badly. But, okay, from those girls. Yeah, I'm sure there's someone who's done it horrible. Yes. But I ended up going on a full deep dive of the origins of Jolene. And I, like, found out what Jolene was, why she wrote it, and everything. It was all about a bank teller. Yeah. There was like a beautiful bank teller that would flirt with her husband, and then her husband would go to the bank and she would joke, be like, wow, you're spending a lot of time at the bank, which it was like a joke, but also she was a little upset about it.
Yeah.
But then she met a girl at one of her concerts, and she like signed something for her, and she said, what's your name? And the little girl said her name was Jolene, and she said, I'm gonna write a song about that. So she used that story with that little girl's name, and that's how Jolene came to be.
That's so cute. Mm-hmm. That poor little girl. She's like, I'm gonna write a song about you, sweetie. And it's just like the most sickest, like, fuck you, whore.
You're the bitch trying to steal my man.
You're gonna have to bleep so much of that out.
Exactly.
You know what? Shout out to Jolene.
But also Beyonce's twist on Jolene.
Yes. Because it's no longer are we being like, oh, please don't take him. She's saying, try if you won't, girl.
But still, to this day, how I feel, it'd be like, Jolene, he's a piece of shit. We should both leave him. Like, I'm fully like, I do not blame the other woman type situations. That's something I've never understood. Again, love the song, but I never like blame the other woman or something like that. He's the problem. I promise you, he is the problem. Oh, that's the thing with cheating. It's like your man's the problem, not the other woman.
Look,
But anyway,
my saying is you can't break a home, or you can't, wreck a home that was already broken. That's what I say. So we
Hashtag
get more
childhood.
songs. Alligator Tears, so Louisiana coded, so good because literally like hypocrites, like, oh, you're crying, but like you're literally the worst. Then we get a Smoke Break 2. And this section to me is so beautiful because this is where she's just like, okay, now we're just going to relax. We're going to have a little bit of fun. And she is the vibe to me that I really get from this.
oh no. Okay, reset. Go ahead.
Yeah. Greg literally knocked his entire camera over. Anyway, so we get to this next section, and it's actually very chill. There's a lot of like slow love elements involved. This is where we get a lot of love songs, a lot of like "You're the One," and this is where she starts collabing with artists who, again, relate to that country music scene, but they're rejected because they don't fit that perfect mold, or there's something about them. So she collabs with Miley. Absolutely fucking love this song. To Most Wanted. Favorite song from this section for sure. They fucking sampled Landslide, which, as you know, and now all the audience will know, is my absolute hands down favorite song of all time. Like, I literally had my friend Aaron, shout out to Aaron because he's listening to us. I had him teach me the song Landslide on guitar. It is the one song I know, and I play it anytime I can get my hands on a guitar.
You know what? Actually, we're going to take a pause. I'm going to insert a clip because, okay, I had this hanging chair, and in college, Kendall would come up. We were in a townhouse. I was on the third floor by myself. Nothing is up there but my bedroom. Kendall comes up to the third floor.
In middle child energy, I just didn't want to be in a room alone.
Right. And I'm sitting there like studying for an exam or something. And Kendall walks in with his guitar, goes to the corner of my, does not announce himself at all. Just walks in, which the door was open.
Your room is my room.
Walks in, goes and sits in my hanging chair and starts playing Landslide. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he said, it just has such fall vibe energy. And then continues to just play Landslide.
You did have a really good view out of your window, though.
I did. But I'm pretty sure it was in the middle of the night. But anyway,
Girl,
I
remember, but I don't remember.
I ended up pulling out my phone and recording that video. I still have it, so I'll insert it here. We'll take a moment just to let that happen. So we'll go quiet for a second. Okay, beautiful. It played. But like you just fully came up into the room, started playing Landslide out of nowhere.
Thank you, Aaron. So they sample that song on here, and then just give beautiful vocals. It's absolutely my favorite song from this section. But Levi Jeans is really good too. And you want to guess who she has on that?
Who?
Post Malone.
What?
Yeah, but if you've been paying attention, Post Malone has been doing country music, and he just collabed with Morgan Wallen too. Like Post Malone has been so into country music, but he didn't make a breakthrough into it. They didn't accept him because he went to pop. And it's that same shit that they did with the Chicks and that they did with Taylor Swift. They turned their back on country music. No, baby, they turned their back on conservative politics.
I remember fully like hardcore because, again, this is during our childhood, and probably the one that we saw was when Taylor Swift started doing pop music. And people, even in our own family, were like, she's turning her back on country music. She's going to pop. And me and you were like, good music's good music. She's still killing it. But
exactly.
I remember like literally people were like, Taylor Swift's turning her back on country music. Da da da. It's like she just did some pop songs. Calm down. It's like they're not allowed to have any diversity.
Exactly. I mean, and that's the same energy that Beyonce touches on with this album, which is why I love it. And again, I relate to it so much. I was a part of that community. Oh no, I like to kiss boys. I'm out of it. I'm no longer a part of it. It doesn't matter how many doors I hold, how many times I say have a blessed day, how many times I say bless you after somebody's. Yeah. It doesn't matter anything I do. No matter what I do, because I have that one little cardinal sin and I scare them, I'm not a part of it. But what I love about this section is she was like, I'm going to do your country. And then welcome to Beyonce's self-love country. This is where we get a lot of our slow stuff. I think you'll find some stuff you like in here.
We know I love my slow shit.
Exactly. But like they all have a calming and a love element to them. And to me, truly what I got here is just realizing that the love was always around and inside of Beyonce or us. This love that we felt we didn't have was always inside of us. And by living by our own rules and expectations and just deciding I'm not asking you for permission to be where I belong. She found this joy and this acceptance that she thought she would get from the oppressive people. She thought she found this love and this joy for herself, for her community, for her friends and her family. She's like, wait, I was so busy trying to get their permission and their acceptance, I didn't realize what I thought I needed from them was always here with me. Mm-hmm. And so she brings in people who also felt that rejection. Because Miley Cyrus is, her dad was country music, and she was raised in Nashville, and the second she just decided to explore herself and just go out there and be different from what everyone needed her to be or they expected her to be, she was rejected. And suddenly, like, even to this day, if you ask anybody from our small southern town or some people in our family about her, they're like, she's crazy, something's not right with her, something's off with her. Mm-hmm. And like, sure, you know, there's mental elements to that, I'm sure, and she has not had a normal childhood. She's not gonna be like everyone else, but that's still her. Like, she covered Jolene. Her voice is made for country music, and she is so a part of that country lifestyle.
I mean, isn't her actual godmother literally Dolly Parton?
Yes, like, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, she is so heavily in that community. She is that community. Mm-hmm. But she was rejected because she did something different.
What I love about it is it kind of addresses that thing that's in everybody, but even you and me felt guilty, like, talking about it out loud, is that everybody who came from there, like, anyone who didn't fit the mold of what you need to be basically had to leave it. Mm-hmm. But we all have a soft spot for it still, but we just don't talk about it. Yeah. And this album's addressing, like, no, we all have it and it's all ours. Like, stop waiting on it, because, like I said, we have that. We both still get the warm, fuzzy feelings about the countryside and stuff like that. But also we don't feel comfortable there anymore in the same way. But we still have that love for it, but we don't talk about it. Like, it's like you feel guilty for, like, speaking so highly of something that's so deeply tied with, like, some really fucked up shit.
Exactly. And so she just gives that fun little beautiful slow air. Then we get to the Linda Martell show, which first I want to let you know, Linda Martell is an African-American country artist and a woman from the 70s, the first African-American to ever play at the Grand Ole Opry. If you know anything about country music, the Grand Ole Opry is the stage. Once you get to perform there, once you are honored on that stage, you are in on country music. She is the first African-American artist to ever make it to that stage. Mm-hmm. And so Beyonce invites her on to this section, and she gives us the Linda Martell show. And this is where Beyonce starts getting into a bunch of fun songs. And to me, this whole section is just the genre reimagined for Beyonce's voice. You know, when she releases an album, she's like, this is not a country album. This is a Beyonce album. And she gives us that section here. She pays respects to her elders. Again, people who have been opening doors for people like her. And I was actually talking with Aaron, who I mentioned before, and he said, you know, he remembers watching videos and interviews where Beyonce's accent, like, she has a country accent. She has a Southern Houston twang to her voice, and people pick on her for that. And so it's people like Linda Martell that gave her a bit of space to be able to get into music in the first place. Even though she started her career in R&B and pop, Linda Martell gave a voice to African-American country people and women more specifically. Mm-hmm. So I just love that she gave her this little spotlight. This section is just fun. It's high energy. It's so much like my favorite song first time I listened to was Riverdance. And it's so Beyonce, because Beyonce kind of started getting really into her sexuality, which she's always been, but she really leaned into it with, like, the album that Partition came out on. And so in this one, the lyrics to the song are, bounce on the shit, dance, bounce on the shit, no hands. And so it's like a fun little, like, you can do a little line dance, a little jig to it, but it's still Beyonce. She's still riding good dick. She's still throwing that thing back in every way that she has to. Yaya is one that's really getting attention from this area. It's just fun. There's a classic song, and I have to think about it, but, like, it's just such a good song. It's so country. It ties in old country music, new country music, and she's just having the time of her life. So anyway, like I said, I am not here to give you a whole rundown. Go look that up. Go listen to the album. Go do your historical research. But last thing I want to touch on is she has a song in this section called Tyrant, right? The lyrics are, I'm a tyrant every time I ride it. Tell me why Dolly Parton is on this song. Dolly Parton is in her 70s. She is born in the 40s. She is the age of our grandparents, and she's out here featured on the song Tyrant.
Good for Dolly.
And you know what? I love it. because she, you know what? I'm sure she does. I'm sure Dolly is a tyrant. But then again, we end the song, and she, as with every album, it's art. She gives a song called Amen. Literally the most Southern thing. She ends it with a prayer. Amen. You loop right back into American Requiem, which again is a thesis statement for this entire album, and just beautiful art all around. I absolutely love it. I actually earlier this year was just telling myself, because I've been going through retouching with my identity and being country and Southern and owning who I am and my roots and paying homage to that, and knowing that just because there's certain people who don't agree with it doesn't mean I don't get to still call myself that. Again, not asking permission to be in a space I always belong to. And I was like, I'm going to lean more into my country roots. I'm going to be a little bit more country this year. And because for my birthday, I rode horses in Malta, like cliffside, golden hour horse riding. I was so in touch and in tune with myself. I was like in nature. I was on this horse. I was like, this is like, it's just one of those fuzzy, warm moments that we were talking about where I'm just like, this is me. Like this, like the country life is for me. I have been saying for years now, I want to retire and I want to go to some ranch in the middle of nowhere, have me and my little horse that I wake up and we like go repair a fucking fence every day. And we just like build a fence. Then we just add some cows or a sheep to it and just go feed them. Like the country roots are there and I love this. I feel like me and her low key are on a similar vibe. Like this album came out when I really needed it and when the country and the world needed it. And so I just love it.
Yeah, I love the fact that, like, we have talked for years, and it's almost like, okay, we know we've been on our gay shit, our party shit. I've been traveling the world. You've been, like, we've been doing our own party, like, world woohoo all over the place. But we have talked for years, and this still hasn't changed. That, like, once we get into our 60s, 70s, we're getting our own little cul-de-sac. Like,
yeah, we're making a family compound.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we're looking for. We're having our family compound where we're going to, like, go out, just spend the day looking at the fields, and spend the, like, evening sitting on the porch in our rocking chairs, sipping sweet tea or lemonade, you know?
And you know what? Like, you know, I know Jeffree Star is problematic in their own way, but the way that they just run a yak farm in Montana now, fucking love
exactly.
that. Like, just back to those simple roots. At the end of the day, spiritually, biologically, and historically, we are to be in nature and we are meant to be a part of it. And it's so much a part of my roots. And I love this album is just so, like, I'm unapologetically me. I'm not asking permission, and finding that love and recognizing what was already there and what was already built in, and that you didn't need to ask for permission. But also, if you really want to fuck with me, watch me top your country charts. Watch me and all of my fans infiltrate your comfy, you know, little country aesthetic that you think is just for you, because we're taking it over.
Yeah. I think it's cool because it's almost like she came out with Renaissance, like lifted up the others, basically, anyone who's been other than. And now she's like, now take that same joy and that energy and go back home with it.
I could not have said that better myself. Exactly. But yeah, that's my topic. That is my obsession. It will be no surprise. This outfit is in honor of it, but also in honor of, again, my little country roots. And I know we are at a very long time.
Gosh, Kendall, you literally don't even have, you have a cowboy hat over there and you don't even have it in frame.
I tried to put it in frame. It didn't work. It's okay. Hold on. I'll put it. Well, no, I have it. If I pull it off now, I'm going to throw everything down.
Yes.
But anyway, that is my obsession.
Okay, I love it. So now we're getting into my obsession for this week. And my obsession is more than obsession. It is a tool necessary for my survival. Okay. It has been a big thing for me recently, but it has been a big thing throughout much of my life. And I don't know how much you rely on this, but I think you're fully aware how much I rely on it a lot. But my obsession this week is escapism.
Oh, she's philosophical.
Yes, like
I guess psychological.
No, I'm dropping. I was going somewhere, but I don't want to go there. So yes, escapism. It is my best friend. We're like this, and we have been like this. That's not even in frame. We're like this, and we have been like that for years. For audio listeners, I twisted my fingers around each other. Yeah. But especially here recently, it's just been so difficult that I need just like a disconnect. But you know what? I have the definition. I have two definitions of escapism.
Please share with the class.
Let me let you know. Some people have some really negative views about escapism, so I'm going to get into that. So the first one comes from Wikipedia.
Okay.
And it says, escapism, it was a term coined in 1933.
Oh, what a fun year.
Yeah, I remember it well.
It was very Great Depression.
Yes. Why do you think it started there?
Oh my God. It all connects.
Yes.
What? Okay.
A mental diversion from unpleasant aspects of daily life, typically through activities involving imagination or entertainment. You know? So, like, that's the way I think of escapism. It's a tool from escaping when life gets hard. But then dictionary.com, she's a little bitchy. She does not get along with escapism.
Okay.
Here's what she said. An avoidance of reality by absorption of the mind in entertainment or in imaginative situations, usually to a point of own fault. Like, of own faulting. I think I wrote that part wrong. But, like, it's like to your own detriment, basically. I was
And you know what?
Girl.
She can go sit down.
Yeah, exactly.
Who asked her? I mean, besides you, but who else? Not me.
I mean, I did literally pull it up, but I was like, okay, I'll get the negative and the positive. And I've come to find, like, it's a very, what's the word? It's a very polar topic, apparently. Like, people feel very positively about it or really negative about it. And it's
Okay, and of those people who feel negative, how many of them had their window busted out their car?
Exactly. So, like I said earlier in this, like, it's been very helpful for me recently with so much I needed to. But I want to get into the pros and cons that they listed of escapism. And
Is this dictionary or Wikipedia?
No, this is my pros and cons, sorry. Like, after doing a bit of research. So the pros, I was like, provide an mental escape when needed. Because, bitch, that's literally what it's for.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, but we do need that. It says, I mean, I hate to say it and to get a little philosophical, but, like, we're in a capitalist world. Like, we're meant to either make money or spend money. Like, that's not how we were built. That's not what humanity was meant to be. So we need a little time to just clock out.
And then the other one is can shift your perspective on life. And for me, what I mean by that is, like, I think you can use escapism, like, almost in a hybrid with reality. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's my creative escape. Like, I go to some nights when I have problems going to sleep, I just creatively imagine that I'm like some prince in somewhere like the Game of Thrones Castle Dorne, or like a Spanish castle walking through my garden. I just imagine what fabulous royal outfit I'm wearing and just like clock out mentally, go somewhere else to allow myself to calm down and relax.
I mean, sometimes what I mean by even doing it in hybrid, sometimes when like little tasks just seem super difficult, I'll literally start thinking of myself as like, okay, I'm a sim. Like, I have these couple of tasks to do. I can do this one task, you know, and it makes it so much simpler. It's like, oh, it's one click away. Like, and even though it doesn't make sense, like, now I'm thinking of the world of Sims, and obviously it's not The Sims. I fully know life isn't a video game, but it's like little things like that. It can make life a lot more. It makes doing the dishes less shitty, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I put on music and sing. Like, it's a free concert every time I do dishes or clean.
Fully going into my own concert. That's a big one, too.
Here's my thing. I love escapism.
Me too. But here's where the cons come in. And I'm aware of some of these, but anyway. One is it can be addictive. And...
oh, well.
I'm fully aware of that. Like, it can become to the point where, like, you're wanting for something that's not there outside of reality. Like, reality no longer provides you with any type of, like, mental sustenance, basically.
Yeah.
And you feel the need to, like, be in your head instead of in the real world.
Yeah.
You know?
A little dissociation, if you will.
And then can cause one to avoid instead of resolve issues. Well.
And you know what? That's between me and my therapist.
Exactly.
You know what? You and your con list can go somewhere else.
Exactly, right? And then one that's really big is can cause one to be detached from those around them. Because if you're in your head and you're in your own, like, fantasy, then, like, the people here in reality get left behind.
True.
And I think that's the problem where it is for me, because we're going to start, like, going into, like, examples. But, like, the biggest one is video games. That is my biggest form of escapism, like, getting into that world and that fantasy and stuff like that, especially, like, ones like World of Warcraft, one that I've played for years, and it has such a deep-rooted, like, lore and world and everything like that. And I definitely have a tendency to get, like, so addicted to, like, those worlds and the escapism, like, leaving the reality, especially when we were kids, because our reality, I didn't hate my childhood. It wasn't a bad life, but there were not great aspects. Yeah. Right, exactly. But, like, video games, it's incredible there. Like, there, I'm this, like, amazing magic casting person, and it, like...
I mean, like, there's a little bit of whimsy in going on Baldur's Gate and, you know, giving your character a dick and slinging that thing around.
Okay, you got something. Me and Kendall. Okay, so I got Baldur's Gate from Alex, my sister's boyfriend. Shout out to Alex. I got that as a birthday gift. And then Christmas Day, everyone came over to me and Danny's apartment. We celebrated Christmas. Danny, Latinos, they celebrate Christmas like at midnight. So like me and Danny were up super late the night before. He was exhausted. He went to sleep.
I don't know if you can say Latinos. You can just say Venezuelans for sure.
No, it's like I found out it's like multiple Latin communities. Okay. It's not just a Venezuelan thing. I don't know specifically like which Latin communities do it, but it's multiple. It's not just Venezuelans. Okay. I found out this past year. But so he was exhausted. He went to bed. Then our dad, our sister, and Alex, they all went home. So it was just me and Kendall hanging out. And I was like, Kendall, you have to try Baldur's Gate. Tell me why.
No, because I found the video game because you were in Asia, and I was like, what? This game looks fun.
Okay, but then you found out it's turn-based combat, and you're like, I'm over it.
Yeah, but you know what? I ended up having fun with it. But anyway.
Exactly. So I got you to play it, and then tell me why. Kendall starts... He gets into the game. He starts collecting his companions. Then he starts to walk around the camp with his dick just slinging around. And he's like, I'm going to fuck him. And I'm like, Kendall, you don't even know him.
I figured out that, like, I saw online that you could fuck people. And I was like, I'm going to do it. Like, I was on limited time. I knew what I was there for. And you know what? At the end of the day, I am still a man. And I have that dog in me. It is a mess.
But he did not succeed, in case you're wondering.
And you know what? Now that I think about it, I used to strip at the fountain in Stormwind in World of Warcraft.
Yes.
Like, the energy was always there.
No, fully, Kendall, one of his biggest things back in our gaming days, and I was like, Kendall, you're making us into a joke, is he would leave on his boots, his swords, and his belt. Okay. Go into the auction house where people go to buy, like, items and gear and stuff like that.
And she was serving.
And he'd get on top of the podium and start dancing like a stripper and then asking for tips.
And I got some.
You did. And I was like, Kendall, they're not going to take us seriously here. We have a reputation. Again, I was fully in that reality. Time. Yes, but he and Kendall. So I'm going around. I'm like, oh, I just got this new piece of gear. I killed this. I completed this quest. And Kendall's like, well, I just got 3 gold for dancing like a stripper. So.
Yeah. You know, and I had my fun. I did what I had to do. I'm going to blame it on the Scorpio Venus. That's just the intense energy.
Exactly.
But then you know what? We found out about Moonguard and the roleplay servers, and I was like, oh, like I was tame.
Oh, fully. Pornshire?
Yes. Exactly.
If you know anything about World of Warcraft, that server in that one town, it's a mess.
Go look her up. Get you a little free subscription for like a month. Go see what she's about.
Actually, it's free to play, so you can go check it out if
you
want. Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah, so video games is a big escapism for me, and it's definitely come at a bad time. Like, even the episode 2 or 3 when we were talking about The Sims, and you were talking about we were in Kansas, and all I was doing was on my laptop playing The Sims, like not interacting with anybody. It's because it becomes so addictive, and like, again, like I said, it's not my fault. My virtual family was better than my physical family. It's like, I said that in the episode, but I was just like, it's joking, definitely a part of there. Like, back then in Kansas, it's usually the best times with our family, honestly. Yeah. That's when everybody just kind of gets along. But, which is odd, when we're all stuck together in one house, we're like, oh, we can all get along now and drop. Anyway, so, but it became addictive, and I definitely, like, removed myself from reality sometimes when I should have been more present.
Well, I'm proud of you for owning that.
But still, also, it's been a tool that has, like, kept my sanity.
I mean, you know what? I mean, escapism to me, I think it's truly, it's a thing. People use it for survival. I think with the Great Depression, like historically, so much of society had gotten to that capitalist point again where we have maintained and stayed. And, you know, we lost, you know, the economy crashed. Money went bad, and then capitalism wasn't fun anymore, and people were having a horrible time. So I can see where escapism can be debilitating. But to me, I've had some of my best creative thoughts from it.
Oh, fully. It can definitely be a tool for, like, opening mental possibilities that weren't considered or that no one else finds. Like, I think creative people need to have the escapism tool. Like, it's a necessity.
You know, maybe do like a little mental check-in for yourself and be like, am I present? Do I know what's going on in the people's lives around me? Did I interact with people today? Like, you were on a whole family vacation with 17 people in one house.
Yes.
And you barely talked to anybody. So, like, in that point, be like, okay, it's kind of hard. Like, you literally cannot go to any room in that house and there's not somebody already there, even out front on the porch or in the backyard.
And
like,
you know what? Jesus checked me. He's like, you don't want to be present? I'm going to destroy your entire family.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, you got what you deserved.
But then there's some other versions of escapism that I think are really popular. Like, we already basically touched on it, but daydreaming. Like, that.
I love it.
That one has been a problem for me since I was a child. Like, as long as I can remember, I've been like daydreaming nonstop. And a good example, actually, our sister talked about this yesterday. Me, Kendall, and Kaylee. Again, we have age gaps. Me and Kendall are a year apart. Me and Kaylee were 4.5 years apart, basically. But we all went to like the same schools, except for when Kaylee decided she was moving to Virginia. But we went to the same schools. But there's only one teacher ever that has taught all three of us. And we gave her such different experiences.
Shout out to Miss Ellington.
Miss Ellington at Aycock Elementary. She is the only teacher to have taught me, Kendall, and Kaylee. And I came in first, obviously, and she very quickly learned that I had my own demons to fight. And mine is that I was a daydreamer. I could not stay present at all. And that was probably my biggest struggle in school. Like, I never like struggled too much with grades, but I struggled with staying present. And I became her personal project to the point where, like, I'm telling you guys, I was such a daydreamer. I could just like erase something on my paper. I have eraser shavings. Then I would start turning them into characters, and they're fighting for their lives, like life and death battles and stuff.
Sticks people fight.
Yes,
Oh my God.
and then we did the stick people fights on notebook
We would
paper.
do like we would do like a city landscape or like some terrain, like, I don't know, like lands something, and we had stick people fighting, and we give them superpowers and weapons, and we used to like draw all this stuff and show stick people fighting, and like, girl, we were like daydreaming hard.
Also, do you know where that? Do you remember when we started doing that?
No.
Okay, you're gonna laugh so much. So, okay, wait. First, let me get to Miss Ellington. First off, she was a fourth grade teacher. She moved me, and she noticed that I wasn't paying attention. So this was back when teachers used projectors with those little clear papers and the little marker pens. She noticed how much of a daydreamer I was. So she moved me. Now, y'all say like, oh, the worst spot is to be at the teacher's desk. No, she moved me to sit next to her while she's projecting. My desk was here. Her projector was here.
And we're talking nostalgic 2000s. Like, they had stuff like the clear sheets of paper. It was like the overhead projectors with like the light bulb. And there was like the mirror, and then it cast it onto the blackboard.
Exactly, showing long division. Because it was fourth grade math. I don't know we were doing
Shout
long
out
division.
to all
then,
of my
but
millennial children.
yes, but like literally, she'd be sitting here talking like da 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 da, and she'd just do that. Whenever she noticed like I was slightly off, she just tap my desk like that, and I was like, I'm paying attention. I was her personal project, and she was super sweet about it. Like, I have a love for Miss Ellington. She was not mean about it at all, but she just noticed that I had a problem with like mentally drifting away, and so she kept me there. And then it got to the point where she got Kendall the next year, and she was like, oh, he's so easy, he's so great, he's so
I was gonna
smart.
say, like, she definitely like saw me, and she was like, okay, all right, here we go again. And then here I was, like, overachiever. I was getting mad because I could not understand fractions and division. I was like, what the fuck do you mean 6 divided by 2 is not 4? 6 minus 2 is 4. What are you talking? Like, we did, like, the mental... Man, that was when you had to, like, get really fast and learn your times tables and stuff. Girl, I was pissed. I was mad. I was ready to, like, all right, let's go outside in the courtyard right now. Like, follow me, Miss Ellington. I'm beating some ass. Like, I know my fractions. And I did. I used to get so mad. I don't think I ever got more mad when I would be time pressured to know my fucking multiplication and division.
The multiplication time, like where it's like, all right, you have 5 minutes to solve as many of these multiplication things as you can.
Yes.
Oh, that was Miss Ellington's class. That stressed me out every time.
And you know what? I came to learn that like math just wasn't my best subject, but it used to piss me off because I was like so desperate for validation. I would get mad when there's like other kids that I'm like, I know I'm better at math than you, and then they would beat me. I was like, I learned what angry Kendall looked like.
Yeah, exactly.
In that class.
But you ended up being like, okay, this isn't bad. So then when she got Kaylee, our darling little sister, she was like, oh my gosh, I'm completing the collection. We had Greg, he was a daydreamer, but you know what? I figured that out, and I will say Miss Ellington helped turn me into like a really incredible student. Math was one of my best subjects after that. She was great. Then she had Kendall, who was so determined to overachieve. She was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get the third one. This is great. And I think Haley almost broke Miss Ellington.
The amount of times that we had to have parent-teacher conferences, or we didn't have to, but like our mom would pick us up from school and she'd be like, all right, well, we got to go pick up your sister now. I have a parent-teacher conference with her, with Miss Ellington.
Yeah.
We saw her so many times throughout that school year.
We did.
She became like a family therapist to us at that point.
I remember one time she was like, I've tried everything. She's like, she was like, she is completely different than Kendall and, well, Greg and Kendall. And she's like, as they are, children are always different. But I just remember she's like, I've tried everything. She said, I moved her to the front of the class. I've noticed she can daydream and drift off like Greg used to. But she just doesn't. It's like almost her thing. Like, she just doesn't. Our sister, she hates school. Like, if she was here, she'd be like, Like, she knows. She hates school. I just remember Miss Ellington being like, I've tried everything.
That poor woman.
She tried everything, but Kaylee, she is her own special beast. So sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, but then jumping back to the stick fight people. So how that started, Kendall, was because Mom had a rule during the summer that we would wake up around 8:39, we'd eat our breakfast, and then they'd send us outside until lunchtime.
Like dogs.
Yes. So Kaylee, she was fine. She was an outdoors child. She was a summer child. She lived her best life. Me and Kendall, it's hot. None of our friends come outside. Like, literally all of our friends on the street, none of them came out until after lunchtime.
Because it's like 2005 or 6 at this point. Like, everyone has a PlayStation 2. Everyone's playing video games. But our parents are like trying to like not do video games. I'm like, girl, I bust my ass at school for 9 months a year. You're going to give me 3 months of video games. I deserve this.
So while Kaylee's like, I don't know, rolling in the grass or riding her bike or something, she just did whatever she wanted. I don't know. She thrived outdoors.
Yeah.
Me and Kendall hated it. So what we would do is we'd go to the front of the house because
I did like being outside. It's just I liked it in the spring and the fall. Like, we fully had like a group of friends we would go like nature exploring with. There's one time we went exploring in the woods for an entire afternoon and our parents couldn't find us and they got mad and we got whooped because they got mad that we ran away. Whatever.
That's some millennial shit too.
Yeah.
But
we did
early
morning that time.
Early morning summertime, there was nothing to do. We could take whatever we wanted outside, but we could not be indoors, and we could not go into any of our friends' houses, which most of them slept
The amount
in.
of times you just like sulked outside and like angry emo threw yourself onto the trampoline and just lay there. You're like, I'm gonna sleep and
fully
wait. They can't make me play.
Exactly. They can't make me enjoy the outdoors. I hate it here.
You were so petty. You still are.
I was. Yes, I am. Scorpio. But so what me and Kendall would do is we'd go straight to the front side of the house because at that time, the front side of the trailer was in shade. So we'd go to the front of the trailer. We'd sit on our rickety ass wooden porch steps. We'd pull out our notebook, paper, and pen because we could take whatever we wanted outside as long as which we didn't have a Game Boy or anything. I wanted a Game Boy more than anything back then. Our parents were like, no. And we didn't have DSs yet because they weren't out yet. And we would start doing our own stick figure people. And we do stick figure people fights until lunchtime in notebooks. That's how that started.
So when we tell y'all we relate to the country, we literally like sat outside like outside dogs.
Yes, exactly.
Just sitting on the porch.
Sometimes we literally
listening
sat
to the cicadas and the bugs.
Sometimes we sat with the dogs, our outside dogs.
Oh my God, we did, yeah. Girl, we were struggling. And you know what? That's why we need escapism. Because why are you going to put kids outside and say, go have fun?
Exactly. It's like, don't come in until lunch. And if we came in like, what are you doing inside? I need to pee. You know?
Yeah. I would love to see dictionary.com do that, you know? She wouldn't be so mad at then.
But here's where some examples of how it can be bad. Because another form of escapism. Well, first, I want to get to the last like 2 positive ones I have, which is like reading, of course. Can us in middle school...
The Warrior
series? Yep, the
and
Warriors.
There has to be its own fucking topic.
Oh, don't worry. It one day will. I don't know which one of us are going to cover it first, but I know Warriors is going to be an obsession for us one day. But, like, reading was a big one for both of us in middle school.
Yeah.
Like, I was to the point, like, I was reading books walking in line in middle school.
Yes.
To the lunchroom.
Like, I remember coming home and, like, you would be like, Kendall, you want to play video games? I'd be like, no, I'm reading a book, girl.
Exactly. But once because you got me onto the Warrior series, once I was reading it, I was like, no, I don't want to play video games. I'm reading Warriors. In the car, I'm reading.
Yes.
Walking around the grocery store, sometimes we take in the books and we'd like walk with mom and we're like thumbing through the book. Like
we were so Rory Gilmore with it, which you don't watch Gilmore Girls, so you don't get
No.
it. But like we were fully like little book nerds. I've always loved to read. I've always been big on it. I started reading Harry Potter in the 4th grade. I read every last book out of order. But I just like that escapism. Yeah, I love that.
And here's where it can get kind of bad, because I think we're thinking of all the positives, the kind of fluffy stuff, but also another form of escapism is drugs. And now you can see like how it can be addictive and bad and da-da-da.
Yeah, I get it.
And alcohol as well. Like, because it removes you from this reality, you know, it'll help you see reality in a different way. It's a shift and stuff like that. So that's where it can definitely get bad, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, there's pros and cons.
And, you know, I think I'm going to speak on this because we need to figure out our recording schedule, because I definitely want to do, like, a Pride Month episode and just kind of, like, walk through my journey of coming out and everything and just share that with the world, share my little 2 cents. But, like, there's definitely a lot of escapism in communities that have had, like, a lot of trauma or a lot of stuff like that.
Exactly.
And I think, luckily, you know, we have family that has had alcoholism in it. So we were always taught like the dangers of being reliant on those things, and addiction still shows up in different ways. But
and again, growing up in you know, Southern Christian background that we had, like, it is demonized. Of course, being gay is demonized, and look at us now. But like drugs and alcohol is so, even though, you know, everybody's got a beer while watching NASCAR, it's still like such a demonized, like, alcohol and drugs are so...
like you can drink beer and you can do drugs, but you never talk about it on Sunday, and you make sure you don't get caught.
And it's such a, like, they put the fear of God in us for those things, because like we can say out loud now, like, the first time we ever got drunk, like seriously ever drunk, like most people are like, oh yeah, this time in high school. No, it was literally my freshman year of college, and you were in your senior year of high school.
No, it was literally like the day before my senior graduation. Like,
That's
I was like,
right. It was
I
right
never
before you
got
graduated.
drunk in high school. I did go to my prom after party, and they let me like shotgun a beer, but I only got invited to that because my prom date was super popular, which I strategically took to fuck with a guy that used to bully me.
But right, like, we never did any type of alcohol stuff, and then drugs, we never even touched drugs. I think it was mid-college for me, and then
Yeah, like, it definitely does have its bad things, and I don't want to like demonize or like make the people feel shame for drinking or anything. Like, you just have to ask yourself the reason, and I think maybe that's the biggest thing with escapism.
It's all about just having accountability.
Yeah, exactly.
And just checking in with yourself. Like you said earlier when we were talking about even the positives, it's just like checking in with yourself. Like, am I present? Do I know what's going on around me and with the people that matter to me and stuff like that?
Like, if you're on a commute, like, escape a little bit, girl. If you're sitting at your desk at work, wasting a couple minutes, do a little escapism. If you're like, you know what? I love her, and I will always use her. She will be with
Fully.
me.
She, like, literally, like I said, me and escapism, I did the finger thing earlier. Like, we're so close. Like, I genuinely cannot remember a time in my life when escapism didn't come up. Like, it is so ingrained. It's almost a part of my personality. Like, daydreaming and video games and just, like, imagining this far off thing. Like, I could just be sitting, like, oh, I'm driving to go, I don't know, pick up butter from the grocery store. Well, while I'm there, I'm thinking about, could you imagine if, like, all of a sudden, like, everyone just started getting superpowers? What would my superpowers be? What would I do? How would I react? How would I keep myself, you know, like, it's just so ingrained into my personality and my way of thinking. But I also do know, like, I have a tendency to overindulge, so I do have to keep myself in check, especially more recently. I've come to realize it because, like, back in my, like, high school days and definitely, like, some of my college years, it was just kind of like, go wild, do your thing. But nowadays, I definitely, like, okay, Greg, how connected are you? How, like, in your head are you, you know?
I know. And you know what? One day you wake up and suddenly you're paying all the bills and making all the decisions, and you're like, fuck.
That definitely makes it harder to escape.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I definitely have, like, been daydreaming all day and I didn't get anything done and I still have all this stuff to do. So, yeah.
Yeah. Accountability, responsibility. All those little things they used to give those little prep rallies in elementary school about. I'm just thinking about elementary school now. You brought up Miss Ellington.
Yes.
Do you remember when they used to be like, here's our core values as a school, and we used to have assemblies, and they would just be like, what does being a good leader mean? Girl, that's some propaganda.
Yeah.
But
But that's basically my subject, is just escapism. Like, it's been
like it.
Such a helpful tool the last like 3 weeks. But also a necessity, because if I didn't have that, we would have been through a couple mental breakdowns. Like, I'm exhausted, but I haven't had a mental breakdown, you know? Like, I'm not crying in the middle of the floor. But I don't know, it's such a helpful thing if you know how to use it correctly. And I think it's a beautiful thing, too.
Yeah. I mean, I think that to be a creative, to be someone that puts, you know, fun, thoughtful, creative energy into something, you have to have some bit of escapism. But I like that. I like that you went with like a little mental topic. Most of yours have been like, actually been super fucking video game based, which is very much you. Again, it's your escapism.
Yeah.
Like, you've done just about everything you said is video games.
I would say Club Penguin, but that's still a video game. So,
all right. Well, I'm proud of you for branching out.
Look at me.
I'm all over the place, and you're consistent, but you branched out once.
Well, you've covered 2 artists.
Yeah.
And then you've done self-love.
Yeah.
And country bears. That is still the wild card. But yeah, so I don't know. That still gets me, like, when I'm thinking of like, okay, these are things we've done. These are things I want to talk about in the future. Kendall did country bears.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm glad I threw you off with that one. I don't even know if there's I just, like, I'll be at the gym on like Monday or Tuesday. I'll be like, what am I going to think about this week? What am I going to talk about? Obviously, some are already guaranteed, Cowboy Carter. But the other ones, I'm just like, let's see what happens.
I have certain ones that I've written down that are like a guarantee to be covered one day. I haven't done the research or anything, but like, for example, I can say it because we said it. Warriors. That's definitely on the list. I don't know when.
The fantasies I had about. Okay, anyway.
Do you remember in World of Warcraft when they'd have the warrior guilds?
Girl,
the druids?
Yes. I didn't even know that was a thing, but you know what? The intersection of World of Warcraft players and warrior cat book readers makes sense, but I would have never predicted.
I know. It's one of those things because, like, we thought warriors was so niche.
I know.
Honestly, because, like, no one understood it or, like, heard about it or anything. My friends made fun of me for reading them. They're like, you're reading about fucking cats who fight in a forest. I'm like, you wouldn't get it. You know?
Get it, girl.
They were like, all I did was read the first couple sentences and saw kitty pet and I was done. And I was like, you know, I can't judge you for that. But
I'm sure there is an intersection of the furry community out there. And again, I'm not kink shaming. Do what you got to do.
Yeah,
girl.
That's definitely a thing.
Get your rocks off where you can.
I mean, I have joined a Warrior Cats art like roleplay guild thing in World of Warcraft, so I know the furry community is there as well. Because I was gonna say saw some things, but I read some things in text, you know. But yeah, I don't know. It's so interesting whenever you find out like, oh, I'm in this thing that nobody else does, and it's like, oh, it's actually a really big community.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and one other thing while I'm leaving escapism, my dolls. That's like a huge escapism.
Yeah, but it's almost like, to me, escapism is reality. Like, somebody has to do the escapism, have a dream, and then put in the work to make it reality.
Oh yeah, a lot of like, I think some of the greatest creations like in the world wouldn't exist without escapism, you know? Like,
and I'm glad the Great Depression gave her a name, but I know she's been there forever.
100% for a fact, if escapism wasn't a thing, how would World of Warcraft even exist?
Exactly.
You know?
This is what John Lennon wrote about.
Yes.
You may say I'm a dreamer. Also, the video of, who's the girl that plays 11? Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah. That video, I fucking love it.
I have no idea what video you're talking about.
Okay. I'm just deeply coded into the internet at this point.
But yeah, so that was my subject.
Anyway,
it was a good one. And
back to it.
Yeah, back to escapism, leaving Millie Bobby Brown. But yeah, that was my thing. It's been a great tool and everything like that, and I think it's very encoded in both of us. So
yeah,
it definitely like solidifies itself as an obsession for us. I guess that's it. That's the wrap up of the episode.
Episode. I'm glad to be back recording. It felt so weird. I definitely was watching myself. Also, for the people who are watching YouTube, just seeing my arm like slowly moving over to the side, I'm just petting my pants.
This whole time,
I've been petting these tassels on my pants the whole episode.
Anytime you see me looking down, it's because I'm watching him like twirl or like twist or pet the tassels on his pants. He's been doing it the entire episode.
I love these pants so much. I'll definitely have to do like a little dance move in them just to show you guys. I fucking love these tassel pants. I bought them and then immediately danced to Como La Flor with them. Yeah, that song was made for it. But yeah, this was a fun episode.
It was.
Glad to be back. Glad to be back recording. We're going to have to get some more in the vault. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I am on my farewell tour, so who the hell knows when we're going to record again.
Do you, like, we still have 2 episodes in the vault right now.
Yeah.
We had so many in the vault when we were, like, we took a 3-week break.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and
we were prepared.
Girl, look, we were prepared. We knew we were going to do this. Uh-huh. we were going to do this. Uh-huh. But you know what? That's on knowing ourselves. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I guess that's all I have to say for now.
Yeah, wait. We have to do the whole exit spiel.
Oh, you're right. Okay, I've been really bad about... I'm in charge of the Instagram and the TikTok. Mm-hmm. I'm really bad at it. I'm sorry. I'm right after this, I'm posting about episode 2, which is now up. That's how far along this is.
Also, I'm not even... I'm doing a little bit of a little shaming moment here because...
Try if you
Kendall...
want.
Okay, I edit this, and I upload to Spotify, I upload to YouTube, I make the thumbnail, which honestly the thumbnail's not much work at all. Like, that it's the easiest thumbnails I've ever made in my life. But I also did some of the art. It's simple art, but I did some of the art. And then Kendall is in charge of the Instagram and the TikTok. And you know what this boy has the nerve to do? He's like, okay, so for the Instagram post this week, I need you to do this and this and this and this. Thank you so much. I was like, so I'm making the photos too.
I don't have PowerPoint on my computer.
So now
I don't know how to photo edit.
So that is totally fine. But Kendall's only job is to post the photos.
Yes, and you know what? I'm part of the creative genius behind our captions and our descriptions.
That is true. I do call him to get help with the title.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So I do put in my effort, and then as far as I called him, I was like, okay, these are the timestamps. Make these into little video clips for TikTok. Uh-huh. To be fair, I would never thought of screen recording the YouTube video.
Yeah, he wanted.
It just never occurred to me.
I was like, instead of me saving those clips and then emailing them or something to you, getting them to you, and then you posting, I was like, you could just screen record the sections.
And you were right, and we'll work on it. We'll figure it out. But yeah, we're gonna try to, and by we I mean me. I'm gonna try to get a little bit more consistent with the Instagram posting. Again, to me right now, I am enjoying, we have a couple friends that are listening, and I have some people that are like, oh, I enjoy the topic, or talk to me about it in my life. But at the end of the day, this is still just a way to spend time with you and for us to be together. So if our Instagram doesn't pop off, it is what it was.
Oh, it's completely okay.
But I still had fun. I'm so excited for you guys to see the week 2 post that we're about to make, because the first week we just put a little thing. The first episode.
No, the thing is, the first week we didn't take photos.
Yeah. Uh-huh. You know what? We're building the brand. We're figuring it out.
I'm proud of my work I did for episode 2.
Yeah, I'm very proud of it too.
It's very much how do I explain? Low effort but perfectly comedic. It's so much of our style of
yes,
comedy.
We're gonna put in just enough
I love
effort.
we're hinting at this. Fully, this episode is gonna come out weeks after you've posted this.
Yeah. No, yeah, they're gonna have been seen it, but
yeah, our little my little face on Bella's body, and you on Janelle Monet's cover.
And leave me alone. You found such a bad picture, but I love it.
Exactly.
It's just about the little simple giggles.
Well, also, I would like to say, this is my moment. I was supposed to introduce the episode. I recently did the editing on episode 2. I came close to ending this whole podcast. This whole fucking podcast was almost shut down. And you know what, Greg?
This is my formal apology. I am not in the editing world, so I don't know. But thank you for bleeping everything out as best as you could.
Kendall came out with the idea of let's bleep ourselves whenever we cuss after episode 1. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's cute. I like that. So then we did that. We did the little censorship mouth, which if you watch on YouTube, every time there's a bleep, there's a little censor that goes over our mouth, of our little podcast.
Greg is really working hard here.
And I showed it to Kendall right before we recorded episode 2. He was like, that is so funny. That is so clever. So, he decided to do episode 2, every other word he's cussing. That's why he is bleeping so much. He's not giving Morse code. He's just cussing nonstop.
But if there was a message in that, somebody let me know.
And it got to the point I hadn't even gotten to our obsessions yet. And I had over 50 bleeps. 5 of them were mine. I counted.
And you notice how I was more tame today.
I
take notes.
I fully FaceTime Kendall. He was in the gym, and I was like, I'm about to end this podcast. Because the amount of time it took to edit that video versus the first episode versus the second episode, because of all of the cussing Kendall was doing, insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But We're better now.
yeah.
I'd done episode 3.
My
She was much
whole
more chill.
entire hand is like going numb from holding this microphone like this.
Why don't
So you have to let
take
me
the
go.
other hand?
Release the shackles.
Kendall, just change
Because we're
hands.
trying to end the fucking episode, Greg.
Yes. Okay. So, anyways, so now the little spiel afterwards. Be
ain't
sure
gonna
to
switch
check
that.
out our check. I've been switching a lot like throughout the video, going back and forth. But be sure to check out our social medias down the bottom. We have both of
Yes.
our Instagram, so if you're interested in that, that's there. But also we have our Instagram for the actual podcast. What's the name of the Instagram, Kendall?
Literally obsessed the pod.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then the TikTok. Have you made that yet? Like, is
I
it?
have not, but she will be there and she will be linked. Don't worry
Okay.
about
Well,
it.
by the time you're listening to this episode, it'll be there.
Don't worry, dear listeners and watchers. We will have it there. I have to pee
It's-
really bad, Greg. We have to go. Let me go.
It's all in the description down below. And also, if you're interested in my doll collection or me gaming, I also have a YouTube channel called Greg's Corner.
Yeah.
Where you can see my YouTube channel where I do that stuff if you want to see more of us. But
Yes, go show him some love. He's putting in a lot of work on the editing of this podcast.
yes. Thank
I'm
you so
showing
much.
up with hastily put together notes and lots of ideas.
Exactly. All right. Well, I guess that's the end of this episode.
Yeah. All
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.